Hello, hello, welcome. Oh yeah, and sorry I forgot to turn on the stream playlist. Sorry about that. Welcome. Hello everyone. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well, Blitzies. Yes, that's what I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you now. Like, look. Sorry about that. Forgot the volume's on there on my phone. But still, yeah. Uh, I'll call you a little Blitzies. Or if y'all have a better suggestion, you can comment on the live stream, or oh god fucking damn it, this fucking stream. Holy shit. Okay, so it's not like okay, now it's not lagging. Alright. So I don't know what happened there. Hopefully we don't have any more hiccups. Again, welcome. How's everyone doing today? And yeah, I'm still affected by the cough because sudden atmospheric pressure changes causes me to cough a lot. I don't know why. It was also happening today because it was raining on and off, and it was making me cough a lot. I really need to get that checked out one day. I just don't have the money to do so right now. Anyways, we're gonna have a just a chill stream today. I'm gonna play some Genshin Impact. Can do some art practice, and I want to do some YouTube reactions. Um, as for art practice, I'm just gonna have to look up some art exercises on the fly when we get to it. With that being said, let's move on to the next portion of the stream. I can watch some YouTube videos while I have my dinner. Ugh. Sorry, yeah, nose is running us all.
Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know what? It's another day where Linux beats up Windows. Now, this is not my monthly Linux cope video. To be honest with you, I'm not coping anymore. I'm not crazy. It's just actually gotten a lot better. About 3-4 years ago, I made a video where I was talking about gaming virtual machines, and I was really using virtual machines to play a lot of my video games underneath Linux through Windows, right? So basically, I would have a Linux system. I would make a Windows virtual machine and I would play basically every game underneath there. Now, the thing is, I don't really have to play with that anymore, and it's been actually quite a while since I've spun up that virtual machine at all. In fact, it was the other day when I was testing for this video that I actually used the virtual machine again, all right, just to play some video games and get some comparisons and whatnot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been following, apparently this is the year of Linux. I've been hearing this every single year since I don't know 2015. So don't hold your breath or anything, okay? Microsoft Windows ain't going anywhere, all right? It's still around, all right? Much like a tumor, it's still there, all right? It's gonna be a while before it gets cut out. But honestly, I don't even want Windows gone. I think Windows is pretty cool. If Windows Vista was the dominant path, if we lived in a universe where that operating system and that style and that ethos carried forward, bro, I probably wouldn't be a Linux gamer. But one of the interesting things that I was reading was that apparently in Denmark, they were going to move away from Microsoft, including Windows and the Office 365. So the entire ministry is actually looking at shifting to Linux, all right, and using things like LibreOffice as actual replacements, which again is pretty cool. Now, this is not new. Every country actually has its own version of Linux. For instance, my home country, India, has Boss Linux, okay? Bharat Operating Systems. Now, is it impressive? I don't know. I mean, it's just Linux with an India twist added to it. But I've also looked at Linux distributions from China, for instance, right? Chinese military operating systems like Kylin OS. I've also looked at things like Russia's Astra OS, which is
You know it's crazy when governments when governments prefer to use Linux over Windows, they you know then, right then and there, that you should probably try to use Linux. You don't have to like fully move to Linux. Have like a a spare if you have a spare laptop or spare PC or whatever, use that to practice using Linux first on that. Get to know the software, get to play around with distros and see what you like and see what setups you prefer. And once you're like fully comfortable using Linux and would like to like install a bare on your main bare metal, it, go ahead. Go ahead. But the only caveats are like you probably gonna have to like port your drivers to to Linux. Like you down your drivers under Windows and and port them to Linux. There are sorry for that. There are tutorials for it, but if you end up not doing that, then probably you're gonna end up with a probably a worse experience, slightly worse experience because you don't have the proper drivers to give you like that smooth experience. Um, but yeah, but there are tutorials. The tutorials are more like towards more oriented towards developers, but there are tutorials out there that aim to simplify the process. I don't have the links right now, but there are quite a few that I used to install Arch Linux. Yeah, I used Arch Linux for quite a while, but then I moved to Endeavor OS, which is basically the the next closest to pure Arch you can get. It's basically like pure Arch, but with a friendly user front UI on top of it. That's what basically Endeavor OS is. Um, anyway, so but like if you want something easy out of the box experience, something like that, then I highly recommend the top three are Linux Mint, Bazite, and Nabara. But both Bazart and Nabara are oriented towards gamers, and Linux Mint is more oriented towards like the casual user. There are three versions of Linux Mint. XFCE is the lightest weight one, which is more oriented towards low spec PCs. There's Cinnamon, which more oriented towards the mid to high end, and there's a Cinnamon Edge, which is basically top of the top high end PC, yeah, gaming PCs. But yeah, um, I know that most of people just can't move to Linux because of competitive reasons. I do understand that. I do understand that a lot. So I would highly recommend you just have like a spare PC you practice Linux on, spare laptop or PC you practice Linux on, and your main PC or laptop that is like your Windows or Mac computer. Because that's what I did. I practiced using Linux on my spare old 2016 Toshiba. It worked not flawlessly. I used a Linux Mint XFCE. That was my starter distro. I used that for about a year before I move on to like I think it was fuck. What was the next distro after that? It was oh yeah, ZenOS. I tried installing ZenOS, but it didn't properly install, so I moved to fuck, was it Endeavor? No, was it? It was another distro I used. I forget. Then I moved to Endeavor OS. Like the my third year using Linux, I went to Endeavor OS. So I started using Linux back in 2016. 2017, I was using another distro. Then 2018, I was using Endeavor OS. Then 2019 through 2020, I was using I think it was It was an it was Arch based distro. I used several Arch based distros before, like in 2024. I think it was 2024. Yeah, 2024. I installed Pure Arch. Um, Pure Arch Linux. I had to use a tutorial to like guide me through the install. But after the install, it was smooth as butter. Well, not really smooth as butter because a lot of a lot of compatibility issues, and most of my troubleshooting was like DIY stuff. So basically, with with um Arch Linux, you are the troubleshooter. You don't have a troubleshooter. You are the troubleshooter. So I eventually moved back to Endeavor OS because yeah, I don't want to be the troubleshooter anymore. I want something that I'm in control of, but I won't have to I won't have to give myself a headache to use, basically.
Their version of a military or Russian homegrown operating system. Because obviously, you would not be shocked that many big countries around the world would probably not want to just have software running on their
Hmm.
systems that come from a nation that they're not exactly on the best of terms with. And even if you are on good terms with, what's wrong with a little bit of independence, right? So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, Linux has kind of been growing in a lot of places. In fact, even here in the North America, there's versions of Linux that are designed so that we can cut Microsoft out of our lives even more. For instance, did you know that the security enhanced Linux, the really secure version of it, is actually a collaboration between a company known as Red Hat and the National Security?
Hold on, what the fuck? What? STL. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck me? That's dope as shit. Sorry if you hear any echoes. I don't really have good uh dampening equipment. I forget what it's called again. Anyways, fuck. Before I forget, um, I want to download this real quick. Um, I will keep on playing this, but on a like separate window, I'll be downloading it.
Agency. Yes, it's something that I use on my actual home box. And the reason why I feel comfortable is because Linux is open source, meaning that it's basically naked and for everyone to observe. You can audit the code whenever you want, and generally there's companies that do this. And the best part about Linux is instead of one company controlling it, you basically have every single company in the world basically adding in upgrades and fixing things up for everyone to enjoy. So all the efforts that Microsoft, that Valve, that every company puts into it, we all get a big juicy benefit out of. And that's of course the future. Now, of course, one of the things that I kind of saw, and I talked about this before, was that even when it comes to buying computers from companies like Lenovo, you probably have seen a few ThinkPads out in the world. You know that one laptop with the little red nipple as a mouse? Yeah, you know what they're doing? They're selling Linux with the actual system. So to show you the cost-saving analysis, let's say you're somebody buying this ThinkPad, okay? You're just buying this laptop all willy-nilly. Now, of course, what Lenovo recommends is just get Windows 11 Pro. You can even add 81 bucks to the price. Now, if you decide to get Ubuntu Linux, okay, you can save $191 because you're not paying for a Windows license, and you can instead put that money towards maybe a better processor, which you're probably going to see more of the benefits out of. And even then, it will be around the same price, maybe a little cheaper than buying Windows. If you upgrade that processor and you get Linux Ubuntu, you might be able to notice that, hey, I could pay an extra $272 for a genuine version of Windows, or I can just pay to get double the RAM for 264. I mean, this just I mean, come on now. You can't make this shit up. When it comes to my drive, I don't know. Do I want to pay for a copy of Windows 11 Home? Or should I just double my SSD to like 512 gigs? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, let's be completely honest here. You're probably going to get the shit that matters, which is RAM, CPU, hard drives, maybe a better graphics solution. Who fucking knows? But yes, now you're starting to see some companies passing on those savings to you. Now, for us gamers watching, obviously you might be like, Muda, I play video games, okay? Windows is very important for me. And I think slowly but surely, that is starting to die a little bit. You know, there was a video by Dave2D, I even talked about it, plenty of actual tech channels talked about this, but the performance gain that Linux is providing through things like SteamOS over basic Windows is not to be scoffed at. When you're dealing with these handheld gaming systems like the Steam Deck or the Legion Go, you actually notice that installing Linux onto this gives you better battery life, better frames. It's actually just a more usable experience. And, you know, I really think the Steam Deck has changed the way people play. Like, for me, I've been playing a lot of games on my Steam Deck since I bought it. In fact, one of the games I recently picked up was this game called Chef RPG. If you're ever a huge fan of things like Stardew Valley, go give this game a buy. Picked it up for 20 bucks. Probably put a shit pot full of hours into it. But you know what? That's the thing about devices like the Steam Deck. They've simplified gaming to the point where it doesn't matter what you use. Whether you're running a Windows binary on Windows itself or Linux, the actual, like,
Hold on.
it doesn't really feel any different. So I wanted to kind of put it more to the test, and mind you, this is not a very granular test for me, but I wanted to run a couple games and see what the performance differences were. So for instance, in my testing, I ran games like Silent Hill 2. Now I think the Silent Hill 2 remake is great, but it definitely wasn't a great PC port. However, the performance difference between Linux and Windows actually seems to have come together pretty well. In some cases, I actually did see Linux running the game smoother. Now, there's a couple more technologies that are in this game, like ray tracing, like DLSS frame generation, that used to be exclusive to Windows. And now they run pretty seamlessly underneath Linux without me modifying anything to the system at all. They just work as if they were underneath Windows anyways. So even with all of these things enabled, I actually noticed that my experience underneath Linux was comparable, if not slightly better than Windows. Now, the interesting thing about this testing is that I'm running an RTX 4090, and if you ever know anything about NVIDIA and Linux, it's not perfect. In fact, if anything, it's far from it. There's actually a big performance loss we get being NVIDIA gamers underneath Linux, simply because the driver software isn't exactly
Just checking for
up
what
to
was
snuff
running.
with Windows. Now, if you have an AMD graphics card, which, you know, I really do want to install into the system, you can actually get better or more accurate performance with that GPU, simply because the drivers are a lot better. But even with these penalties in place, I was gobsmacked to see that under just playing a video game, naked eye testing, the Linux experience was the same, if not slightly smoother than playing the game underneath Windows. Now, the other game that I wanted to test was something like Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, this is an old
Oh yeah, so one day if I'm able to run stream under Linux sufficiently, I'm including like Steam VR and all that. Obviously I'm probably gonna use something like a Nabara for like all the streaming stuff. Or maybe even better, having one PC dedicated to capturing to streaming and having a second PC. So the streaming is gonna be slightly less powerful than the gaming PC, but having like gaming PC on a main PC and a secondary PC as the streaming PC, that'll probably work better. And the stream PC be under Windows and having the gaming PC be under Linux probably will work. I'll probably work out, maybe-ish. But yeah.
older game, and it's a game without ray tracing or any of these modern new features, but it still looks absolutely amazing. Now, the reason I wanted to test this was to A, just see the performance, and generally speaking, I was gobsmacked to see that my Linux performance for the game was on par, if not slightly better or more stable than the Windows version out there. And not only that, the game worked flawlessly with multiplayer too. Even though that it requires me to use EA's bullshit tiny launcher, it still works as if I was playing a Windows game outright. So yeah, ultimately speaking, it's a pretty good experience out of the box.
Okay, to be fair, probably the only reason why the launcher exists is because the launcher is the DRM, or the DRM is the launcher, basically.
You know, all it took me was to just go to Steam, download the game as I would on Windows, and Bob's your uncle, I'm playing a fucking game seamlessly on my Penguin box. Now, the last game I wanted to test was Mind's Eye. Now, this game is dog shit no matter what platform you play it on, man. I was playing this thing underneath Linux and I was playing this thing underneath Windows. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, the experience is absolutely ass fuckingly painful, regardless of what platform you're on. It ain't Microsoft's fault and it ain't Linux's fault. The game is just bad. Now, even with that said, the reason why I wanted to test Mind's Eye was not just because of a joke, but also because I actually did not get a single crash underneath Linux. However, I did end up getting crashes underneath Windows. Now, it's not to the fault of Windows. This game just has a problem with, I believe, a feature known as HGSS underneath Windows. Now, with this feature set enabled, maybe the game wasn't properly patched up to snuff for me. It was kind of giving me issues on Steam. But with these features enabled, I was actually getting some pretty consistent crashes underneath Windows 11. Now, I've noticed that a bunch of other streamers and content creators who were playing this game also got those similar crashes, and they were all using Windows. So it leads me to believe that Mind's Eye or something with the Unreal Engine is having issues with that feature set enabled underneath Windows. But because underneath
The main issue with Windows 11 specifically, hold on, is stream okay? Yeah, stream is okay. So the main issue with Windows 11 specifically is that most of the programs were made with Windows 10 in mind because Microsoft said Windows 10 is gonna be the last operating system they'll ever make. But clearly that was fucking wrong. But what's shitty is that most of the operating systems had to make a second version for Windows 11 because the way they could coded the for Windows 10 was completely incompatible with Windows 11. There is no backwards compatibility with Windows 10, but there's still with Windows 7 for some reason. I don't understand what the fuck was going on there in Microsoft's HQ. But basically, most of the programs that were made for Windows 10 that I use, they do not have a patch for Windows 11. They do not have like a native patch for Windows 11. So either one, I have to look through GitHub or SourceForge to get like a Windows 11 patch. But even then, that Windows 11 patch still has issues. Or I end up finding an alternative that does work natively with Windows 11. This is what I don't like about Windows 11. Almost none of the programs I use are compatible with Windows 11 outside of OBS and BC Face. And it's a good thing that Fire Alpaca has works on Windows 11. Thank God. But most of most of the programs I use are like open source stuff. Probably most of them are outdated to begin with, to be honest. But another thing is, some of the games I play that don't have that have like old ass launchers that were made for like Windows 7, Windows 7. Something like Need for Speed Most Wanted. that game has a PC release. Yet that PC it works on Windows 10, but it does not work on Windows 11 at all. So what I am gonna have to do eventually when I have enough money to get a to completely upgrade my gaming PC, because I do plan on just making one giant ass full upgrade instead of just instead of just upgrading this and that. You know, I know that's more economically efficient, but what I know this is not financially viable for most, not even for me right now. I just want to do like a one full PC upgrade in one go. It's either that or I get a second PC, clone both of my drives, and use that as like my gaming PC, and have my second PC as like the streaming one. And that would mean I would have like two screens for for a one screen for gaming. That'll be my main screen for like the very game PC, and have two screens for for streaming. One for OBS and VC face, and the second screen for just viewing stream, making sure everything is going fine and dandy. I know that's like that is say that pretty much impractical in a sense, but since when I ever done anything practically? Since when? Almost never. Anyways, let's move on with the video real quick.
Linux, it doesn't necessarily have maybe an equivalent. I'm not getting those same crashes. In fact, actually underneath Linux, I was able to enable all of the DLSS frame generation and all of the cool stuff to get me slightly better performance. And overall, if you wanted to play bullshit like Mind's Eye, well, it works a lot better underneath Linux than it does Windows. But that's not a glaring recommendation that you should ever pick this game up. It's just actually that bad. Now, one thing that I really noticed was a serious win underneath Linux lately was the support from anti-cheat. Now, that doesn't mean that you can play every game. For instance, I am a Rainbow Six Siege X player now, and
The support for anti cheat for Linux, it is we have to thank Steam for that. We have to thank Steam for that because I think it was Steam rolled out a TOS update which forced companies to let users know, hey, this game does not work underneath Linux because of our DRM. And some companies were trying to get around that as well. And I think it was I forget which company which company got kicked off the platform. I forget, but I one company got kicked off the platform. They attempted to sue, and fuck brain. Try to think of the fucking ADHD brain. Fuck me. Anyways, did it sue? Yeah, brain. But yeah, basically that company was Baby Rage mad over it, and said blah 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 blah. Oh, Steam is abusing us. Blah 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 blah. No support from the community. No support from Steam. And I think the profits dropped tanked so fucking badly that they backtracked on everything. And I kind of checked their back on I forget the name of it, but I remember looking at one of their games. They're interesting. And it was a racing game that I wanted to get, but it's no longer available on Steam. because of that situation.
You know, the sad part about it is I still need that computer because Ubisoft will still not enable the actual anti-cheat, okay? It's a simple fix for them. They can do it, and I really hope they will. Because in comparison, companies like Namco Bandai have absolutely enabled it for
Don't I hate companies like Ubisoft. I really do. The only reason they would ever enable the DRM for Linux is if they can profit off of it. That is the only reason why. Mm, mm. If they can't profit off it, they're not going to support it. That's how greedy they are.
Elden Ring Night Rain. So I was able to play this brand new, super popular game underneath Linux, out of the box, day one. And it's actually pretty glorious. Not only was I able to play games like Elden Ring Night Rain, but I also started loading up other multiplayer games like Splitgate 2 that seemed to work pretty well. I also loaded up Halo Infinite, and you know, to my shock, it also works out of the box completely well, as if you were just playing it on Windows. It's crazy to think that we're playing an Xbox game just on Linux.
A fun fact: most of the emulators you allegedly use does allegedly have a Linux equivalent, such as the XMU for the original Xbox. It does have a Linux. It does allegedly have a Linux equivalent on pretty much every distro. I allegedly would use the app image version because that just runs natively on every distro, regardless of what you use. Pardon me. Pardon me. But yeah, most other emulators you allegedly use does allegedly have a Linux equivalent.
Even games with multiplayer without it actually crashing. Truly, everything really is an Xbox, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I was actually shocked, man. A lot of games, some of the big popular ones now, are actually coming with Linux support out of the box. And in some cases, if you're Marvel Rivals, for instance, they'll straight up tell you, yeah, we're putting in support for Linux. We actually are. Now, I think all of this is
Yeah, yeah. Also, again, if for gaming, I recommend Bazite or Nobara. Those ones work the best for gaming.
a super serious win on the Penguins' part, and it's only a matter of time before companies like Ubisoft or really any of these big multiplayer shooters start to really embrace Linux users, right? Like, I don't think it's too far off that Ubisoft might think, hey, we want to get some more players. Maybe it's fun to cater to the people with these Steam Decks or Rogue Allies or Legion Goes, or maybe just
There's another thing. I think it's just I'm not sure. It's not Ubisoft, but maybe it was EA or something. I forget. But in their Windows only DRM that they have for uh, what was the game? I was it Rockstar? I don't fucking know anymore. Yeah, one of their Windows only DRM. I think they wanted to run it on a Steam Deck, but since they use Linux, they're basically forced to enable Linux support. But I remember there was another game that used to support Linux before it said, "Up, we're not profiting off this, so we're abandoning Linux." And I think, yeah, now I remember, yeah, because when they abandoned Linux, they didn't bother telling anyone. That company was the catalyst for changing Steam's TOS to force them to say, "Hey, our DRM no longer works on Linux."
Linux gamers in general, maybe we will just toggle that switch. And maybe down the road, maybe Grand Theft Auto Online might become enabled on Linux. But realistically, all this is just kind of hoping for the best, okay? Again, and anti-cheat is still one of those tough things to go down, but it's good to see actual wins. So I want to celebrate it right here. I don't want to make a video that's just fucking negative about this point, okay? There are some wins. So you might as well just start focusing on all of that instead of the really negative parts, right? Even games like Dune Awakening were running pretty much out of the box. MMO games that are super duper popular, running completely out of the box on the Penguin. You can play with all of your friends. It doesn't even matter what system you're on. It's a good win to have, and you should be celebrating it. Now, for a lot of people, the big dreaded end of life is coming. So if you don't know, a lot of people are still on Windows 10, and Windows 10 is going through an end of life phase. In fact, we're getting pretty close to the actual end of, where Windows 10, Windows 8.1, and 7 will not be supported as soon as October of this year hits. So after October 14, 2025, you're not going to get free software updates from Windows Update or any of these things. What you'll have to do is pay Microsoft for end-of-life support. Now, unless you're somebody that really fucking has a boner for any of these versions of Windows, it makes no sense for you to just not upgrade to Windows 11. In fact, I'll be honest, the day Windows 11 dropped, I updated all my virtual machines and systems to it because, you know, it's better to just be on the newest shit and at least experience it, in my opinion, than consistently stick to the old. And
Here's the thing with me, and you probably noticed already. You probably think I'm still on Windows 10 if you're new here. No, I'm on Windows 11, unfortunately. But slowly but surely, I've been allegedly fucking around with the registry editor and policies, and group policies to patch back in elements of Windows 10. So if you don't know, Windows 11 is basically built off of Windows 10, so there are elements left of Windows 10 left over. So I've been snooping around to see what I can patch back in, and I so far I patched back in the taskbar, the Explorer, Windows 10 Explorer, the context Windows 10 context menu. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to patch back in the start menu, so I just go with the third-party one. But it still works. It still works though.
just wait until things slowly fizzle out. But not many people have that luxury. For instance, for those of you who don't know, the system requirements for Microsoft Windows 11 actually lock out a lot of people with older systems for really no good reason. Now, I believe as far as people who have like Intel, like 7th generation chips, so we're talking i7 7700 era like systems, anything before that doesn't seem like it's going to work underneath Windows 11. And the sad part about it is there's no real good reason why that doesn't work. You can still pick up some decent CPUs for a pretty good price.
I tried to avoid Intel when I was making my first game PC that I have right now, but unfortunately the only thing I couldn't avoid was the motherboard. I was trying to get like a good a decently a decent motherboard that good for streaming. That was also a budget. That was also a budget part, gonna be like good for my budget build. Unfortunately, the only motherboard I got was an Intel Arc A770. Yep. If you're cringing right now, I am deeply sorry. But I will make sure to make up for it to try. Maybe I'll go with an Asus motherboard for my next game PC, but for now, the current one I have is good, but as a budget build, something like that, yeah. I just like when I have a friend help me build my game PC. I just told her, hey, I just want like I'm trying to make this a budget build gaming PC. That's also good for stream. Good for stream. Um, total amount with shipping was so fucking tired. 850 US dollars. If you want to translate that, go ahead. But yeah.
Prices. And if you're somebody that wants a really budget system to play older games on, which I'm sure a lot of you guys do, you can still pick these things up, build a computer, and thanks to the power of Linux, for instance, you can get things going really easily. You can actually bring life to older systems that are actually just slated to turn into fucking e-waste after October 14, 2025. In fact, one of the operating systems that I wanted to talk about was Bazite Linux. Now, I have talked a lot about SteamOS, but honestly, I don't even really think you need to wait for SteamOS. If you want an experience that's already put together and better, just download Bazite. It's so simple that you can install it, put it onto any of your systems, and it comes with easy wizards that will basically have things automated and set up right from the get-go. So for instance, if you're somebody that just wants to have RGB, you're somebody that wants to have streaming, you want to have like emulators set up on your system out of the box, Bazite will basically just do it for you. In fact, it's shockingly easy to the point that I would say it's easier to install this than it is to install Windows. It's not only faster, but you can get things up and running faster than you would, even with a Windows system. It's kind of mind-boggling. And with a lot of popular applications like Discord and shit like that, pretty much working out of the box for Linux anyways, realistically, it's not too different from just using Windows, right? Like, it's crazy how impressive the system has gotten.
Yeah.
One of the comments that I saw from like EndeavorOS's forums actually warmed my heart a little bit. Lord Simon here says, "Hey everybody, I recently built myself a new gaming PC, and with the way Microsoft is going with Windows, I was very reluctant to use it for a new build. Thanks to Mutahar, some ordinary gamers, I learned that running Linux as a primary OS for gaming is in fact very viable. Like many others, I've dabbled in the past with various flavors, but they found something called EndeavorOS. Now, I've never recommended EndeavorOS and I've never talked about it, but this person found a version of Linux that worked for them, they installed it, and they started their journey of complete computer independence. And that is just heartwarming to see, okay? It doesn't matter how many views these videos get. It doesn't matter if it's not a successful. It doesn't matter if it's like a hit or miss. When you read comments like this and you see people switching and enjoying themselves, that's all that really fucking matters at the end of the day, okay? When you can convert somebody, it almost feels like this little cult that we have is becoming a little more livelier. Now, when it comes to a lot of those older Windows 11 systems, even when it comes to the OEM, Microsoft is trimming even more support from their compatibility list, which again is never a good sign. There's a lot of older systems that can still be used for good budget systems that Microsoft is just leaving on the cutting room table. Now, a lot of the guys over at Linux have basically been creating new pages to help you guys convert. Now, the guys, KDE, okay, these people make one of the best user interfaces for Linux, the best environments.
Yeah,
made a page.
I recommend KDE. Do not use GNOME. That shit's vile. That shit's vile. I recommend just use pure KDE. And using KDE integration for your web browser. Also, if you use Firefox or Chrome, or any forks of them, if you use Linux and you have the KDE environment, do the KDE integration for your browser. There's a KDE integration extension for pretty much a Chromium and Firefox browsers or your forks of it. But yeah, that'll save you a shit ton of headaches. Trust me on that.
KDE for Windows 10 Exile. Upgrade your software, not your computer, which is true as hell. So you got this poor guy sitting over here on a road with his little MacBook and his noodles. It's a very depressing image. Your computer is toast. So after October 14th, they want to turn it into junk, which is pretty true. So effectively, what you can do is upgrade the absolute smart way. Upgrade to KDE's Plasma Desktop and a version of compatible Linux. And they're true, even machines that are 10, 15 years old can happily run Plasma, a modern, safe operating system that won't let you down. And that is actually quite true. If you have a super old system that just is chugging to run Microsoft Windows, like the crap top that I started this YouTube channel on, you could absolutely install versions of Linux.
I heard that not only Linux enthusiasts, their parents or got the parents to use Linux, got them on Linux Mint. Your grandma can use Linux Mint. Oh, I heard stories that they got their grandpa to go with a Linux Mint, and I think it was they said that um they could they themselves reconfigured Linux Mint to look as close to Windows as possible in terms of the desktop environment. More likely the skins you can use to customize it per se.
And bring old life into beautiful systems. And again, there's no reason for you to throw away stuff that actually still works. A lot of old computers can still play some pretty decent games. They can still run some pretty cool servers. They can still do some pretty awesome shit. You just browse the web, old laptops can absolutely still keep up with the modern internet of today. And you know, if you're somebody that loves Windows so much that you want to make your system look like 7, XP, Vista, there's a lot of configuration tutorials out there that'll teach you how to make sure your Linux system looks just like old school Windows. In fact, I used to actually make my system look like Windows 98 for the longest time, just because if somebody
Ooh.
came over, they're like, bro, what is this super old shit that I see on your system? And how are you able to run a modern game on it? Well, it's just because I can. It's just because I have the ability to do so. So yeah, Linux is kind of kicking Microsoft's ass a little bit, and a lot of it really comes with the absolute benefit of having all.
Here's a strategy I want to propose to everyone who's watching the stream or watching the YouTube on. If you want to get like your parent to move to Linux, get show them how easy it is to use Linux Mint and tell them you yourself will configure Linux Mint to look and feel like Windows, basically. Um, I know. Oh, and it's like some of you are like, okay, okay. Some of you are like, uh, no, I don't wanna. Like, you don't have to, but it's a strategy to take down Microsoft. That rose. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work like instantly, but like it's probably gonna work on like having this per se two or three generations down the line. Let's try to get everyone to be using Linux.
All of the world support behind it. And I really think that, you know, all of these things, all of these tiny little stabs that are going, right? Whether it be handheld gaming PCs, whether it be government switching over, whether it just is that people who are watching my channel even or any channel, I've started to see the comments for it. People are saying, I can't even upgrade to Windows 11. You know, instead of buying new expensive hardware that you may not need, you can just switch over to the Linux side and still use your computer for a few more years, or maybe several more years, until you actually really have to start upgrading. But yeah, it's kind of great to actually have some real level of tech independence. And, you know, honestly, if you're somebody that complains about Windows and still consistently uses it because you think you have to, you know, this is not like anything else. This is actually hilarious because an alternative does exist and it has existed for years. And in 2025, it's gotten to a point where it's pretty much 1-to-1. So really, you can make the choice. You can keep using Windows, or if you want to give it a try, you can use Linux. You can even dual boot it and kind of experience both side by side
Yeah,
and see which one you really truly like. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.
yeah. So basically, Um, you can dual boot Linux and Windows to see if you which one you like. Um, but as for me, I think the most likely thing I will be doing is if I can find a way to run run VR chat under Basite Linux, I'm going to do that. I am going to do that regardless. Oh god fucking damn it, the stream. How is it oh my fucking god. What the fuck? Let's see if it works on my main display better. Oh are you fucking kidding me? It's gonna work on my main display better than actual like the what the fuck? Anyways, that's odd to say the least. Anyways, what I was saying is that you can the thing I'm gonna do is have a well you reconfigure my current this one down the line. I'll reconfigure this one to do just be purely for streaming and to have my main more beefy gaming PC running everything under Basite Linux. Uh pardon. Pardon me. But a strategy I'm gonna implement to combat any potential session hijack bullshit is that I will have a third spare laptop that I'll use to periodically check emails, downloaders, and uh, probably I will, if I can, um, I'll probably have it running either Windows 10 or not Windows 10, probably Windows 11 if I can be doing Windows. I could have it run in Tiny 11 or Rufus, or have a Rufus Windows installation thumb drive, basically. And with that one, I'll be using a spare laptop to look through emails, test programs, etc. When I'm testing programs, yes, I will have the internet, Wi-Fi or Ethernet, uh, Wi-Fi. It's either gonna be Wi-Fi turned on or Ethernet attached to just download it, and then I detach the Ethernet or disconnect the Wi-Fi. Like not necessarily just simple disconnection, like one-click disconnection. I'll go into the settings and disable Wi-Fi. Disable Wi-Fi. Like I'll probably use whenever tweaker temporarily disable my Wi-Fi card and then run the program. If there's any suspicious stuff that's going on in the program, or if it ends up being like something like ransomware or something like that, at the very least, with having that spare laptop disconnected completely, not running on any networks or anything else, having that kind of quarantine on like just like that one spare PC. All right, that good. But one I'm truly afraid of is that having exploit where it is a persistent ransomware, as in it installs itself into the BIOS itself. That's my main concern. If that happens, I'm chucking the spare laptop, and I'll make sure that spare laptop is just like the bare minimum requirements to run Windows um Windows or whatever program has the highest requirements. But yeah, with that being said, I will set up Genshin Impact real quick. Pardon me. Pardon me. Sorry. But I don't know. That was my ramen. But yeah, I'll set up Genshin Impact real quick. It'll take a few minutes. Sorry. So that being said, I'll be back, Blitzies. Alright, we're back. We're back with some Genshin Impact. Hopefully y'all like your stream. I'm not gonna be doing art practice tonight because I'm a bit tired for it. So I'll be doing art practice on tomorrow morning. Probably the morning I'll be doing art practice in the afternoon, but playing various games, Genshin Impact and a lot of games. Basically, it's gonna be a variety stream again. Alright. Alright. Let me make sure I actually like update everything. Alright. Alright. A little bit of Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact. Oh, I want to make sure. Stream. See the. Alright. Good. Aww. Yep. I know that was cheating, but come on. Okay, let's see here. Or Nitro. Fire setup. No, I don't want to rename it. Z. Alright, is this? Yes, please. Alright, no sneeze. God damn it.
悪くない芽が出たわ。今日も引き続きサボりましょう。調子が良くなってから仕事を一気に終わらせるわよ。
Alright, now we get our daily rewards. Yeah, sorry. That was a cough, not a sneeze. Okay. Okay. Alright. Oh, dispatch again. Fire setup. Confirm. Okay, right now. Gotta go get our rewards for our teapot. Okay, come on. Around depot. Nope. Come on. Well, I think now she has some. Yeah, they has new dialogue now. Yes, I lost the 50-50 to Daya, unfortunately. And she permanently ruined my account.
この場所はおやああ、ちょうど退屈砂漠にある種の優先みたいなものがあるのを知っているか？こういった優先はかの民が砂漠に取りのだけど優先の水源は確かにそしてこうした優先は通常そういうことだな。依頼の具体的なそこで冒険者協会はそれ以降この場所はおやああ、砂漠にある種のこういった優先かの民がだけど優先のそしてこうした優先はそういうことだ。依頼の具体
Oh,
的
so there's
そこで
just
冒
no
険者
difference.
それ以降
Alright, alright, with that being said. Yeah, we're gonna be doing art stream tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning is art stream, in the afternoon is Genshin. It's a variety stream. Give me a variety stream. Only basically. No, I'm not doing that. Fuck off. Fuck off with that. Fuck off. Fuck off. Alright. Alright, let's see if there's any players need help. Oh, I forgot. I didn't check which one which one. Oh,
見切りました。稲光、すなわち永遠なり。て、た、せ、た、て、と。て、ひゅっ。裁きの雷。
ooh.
恨むわ。
I think they're European accounts using American servers.
よし。落下のリンク。ほっ。やっ。と。やっ。はっ。せ。ほっ。やっ。はっと。やっぱり。はっ。やっ。
Mm. What am I doing? Escape. No dude's fine. Always water. All I need is water, actually. Yeah, where is he? Oh fuck! I don't understand. Buddy. Buddy. Yeah. Let me. Excuse me, what's going on? Gotta go see. Okay. Alright, we're gonna try another person real quick. We're gonna see if that person needs help. Hey, see you. Oh, set her at blah blah blah. AR-35. Ah, neck crack and a half. Ooh, neck crack and a half. Okay. All right. It is how far. Oh. Yeah, Jay asked if you need help. Does he need help? Do they need help? English? Or they speak it? So English. Yeah, I don't speak English. Sorry. Eh.
この仕事を選んで正解だったな。そこ。
見切りました。
はっふふほれ、これこその知恵の伝よっ
ひゅっ逃げ道はありません。見切りました。
手をつなぎましょう。
ストップ。やっ
Ooh. It's doing world quest. Okay, so I think I know which world quests are doing. Okay.
ひゅっさばきの
知識をあなたにも。
Oh, did they teleport? Wait, what the fuck happened? Huh? Where is it up?
晴天でさえ雷帝の光を遮ることはできません。天へと前。属性を見下ろさん。風よ。
Wait, are they underground?
天へと前。風よ。天へと前。属性を見下ろさん。
Okay. Thinking of where the head. Yeah. I remember this. Oh shit. Damn. Hold on real quick. I think I remember. Oh. I remember. Oh. Yep. Alright, alright. There we go. Yes, I did this quest before, and it took me a while to figure out, basically. Alright. Where did they go? Where the fuck did they go? They're probably not there. Are they there? Doesn't look like it. Okay. What? Okay, the second time this happened. What's going on? Both of our pinks are good, so I don't know what's going on right now. I can use restroom. So, I'm back from the restroom break. It looks like they're still bugged. No, they're not bugged anymore. Okay. They went. Okay, so okay, let's go here. I just realized something. Do we have an unwritten rule for like using the Statute of Seven to heal in other players' worlds? Because I think it's generally okay if like you're low on health and don't have any food. Oh, I never figured out this puzzle. Hold on, I need to reset my model. There we go. Yeah, I never figured out this puzzle before. Even on my own world. Even with the help. Mm-hmm. And I thought they were. Which role quest is this? I don't remember. I thought I did. No, I don't. Fuck. Mm. Fuck. Okay, I may be more tired than I actually what thought it was. Yeah, what the fuck? Where'd they go? Where did they go? Oh. Okay. Uh, mm, mm, no, no. I left. I have to wait. Yeah. Adios. Yeah, adios. Yeah. I'm probably just gonna go to sleep because I'm frankly exhausted from
の美しい風景もそばに誰もいない以上私の普遍を引き立たせるだけ。
Alright. Alright. I gotta go sleep now, so bye bye, matinee.